We start with the development story we're following in all of Indonesia. Police say at least 100 people are dead after chaos and violence erupted at soccer match between two of the country's biggest teams. Have a look. You can see in this video the clashes between fans and security forces. Authorities say a deadly storm. It occurred after police fired tear gas into the crowd. Nearly 200 people were injured as well. Many were transported to a nearby hospital suffering from lack of oxygen and shortage of breath. Correspondent Nasywa Fawnia is following this story from Jakarta for us. Nas, take us through how this tragedy happened.
Well, the tear gas is going to be the key focal point here as they look into why this stampede occurred. Because according to the robbers, according to journalists who were covering this match, which was expected to be a high-risk match, this is a Saturday night in East Java, Indonesia. Indonesia, known for passionate football fans, brawls are not uncommon after a continuous match. And yet, when police decided to fire tear gas at the lower stands to stop people from rushing the pitch, and in a stadium settings, tear gas is not something that is even allowed by football's governing body, FIFA. A wine gas or some sort of movement of air pushed the tear gas into the upper stands, where there were families with children and people start to panic. There was a mass panic because people were breathing this in. Their eyes were burning, their throats were burning, and they tried to get for the exit. And when you have hundreds of people trying to rush towards one exit as quickly as possible, you end up with people being suffocated, as we just described. You end up with people who are trampled. There were dozens of people, several dozen who are believed to have been killed almost instantly in deaths. But then the others that were loaded into ambulance and cars and rushed to area hospital with various injuries. A lot of people die even before they arrive at the hospital, or they died shortly after arrival. And so the number of at least 130 right now is expected to go up. And it's just horrific to imagine, as bad as the image looked, that they were shot from a distance. Imagine if you were caught up there in the middle of that with your kids or with somebody who you love, and when you try to get a safer place because you couldn't breathe. And so obviously you have Indonesian authorities going to look into this. The Indonesian President Joko Widodo said that there will be a thorough evaluation both into how the football match was held, whether it was perhaps sold in an overcapacity type of scenario, because apparently, according to Indonesia's chief security minister, there were 42,000 tickets sold. Stadium should have only been holding around 38,000 safely. Also, the president of Indonesia is saying that it's a human tragedy and he doesn't want to let another one happen in the future. So they will have a lot of soul searching to do here. This is now the deadliest football disaster in Indonesian history and the world's second deadliest stadium disaster. The last time that we saw anything close to this scale was Peru, almost 60 years ago in Lima, Peru. So clearly cast, a lot of questions being asked, a lot of people who are having to grapple with the reality that their loved ones went to a football match which is supposed to be fun and exciting. Sadly, they never come home.
Yeah, absolutely tragic. Well, Nasywa, thank you so much. I appreciate that. As we mentioned, that sadly this isn't the first time that accident at soccer matches have led to tragic loss of life. April 1989, the FA Cup semi-final between Liverpool and Nottingham Forest overcrowding at the Hillbrook Stadium in Salford, England, ultimately led to the death of 97 Liverpool supporters and in following a crash. and 21 years ago in Ghana, around 126 people were killed in a soccer stadium stamp when police fired tear gas at riding fans. And it was one of Africa's worst soccer disasters. And then, in the 1960s, as I mentioned, more than 300 fans in Lima, Peru, lost their lives during an Olympic qualifying match between Peru and Argentina. So, we will continue to monitor the tragedy in Indonesia and will give you updates as soon as we learn more. Thank you.